Hello everyone and welcome to this week's episode of Facebook Live with Geraldine Morelli, who I'm going to be interviewing a bit about her business, a bit about why she joined Athena. So thank you so much for being part of these Facebook Live series, Meet the Member series. So first question is, what is your business called, what it does and how do you help people?
Okay, well thank you and hello everyone. So my name is Geraldine Morelli and I'm a personal travel agent. I have two online travel agencies. One is called Morelli Travel and it takes care of any type of holidays, and the other one is called Rare Encounters and it's specialised in African safaris.
Like the sound of that.
It is amazing. So they are both online travel agencies. I work from home. I'm here based in Highgate. And basically what I do is I listen to what people want. It could be a dream, it could be something vague, it could be something very specific. It could be loads and loads of different requirements. Any information I get, I research, I design, I propose, I discuss. And when people are happy, I book a holiday for them. So what it does, and the way it does help people essentially, is by saving them loads of time, obviously, because although some people do love spending time researching their holiday, which is absolutely fine, others do realize that it takes forever, and they also feel like they may be missing out on something else. Now, I do have access to hundreds of suppliers, so when someone is looking at maybe one or two compare websites, I may have access to many more, so I can compare all of these offers and possibilities for them. So I do save time for people who do not wish to do this. Money as well, I can save money, not just because time is money and people who are busy also need to have their hours working, but simply because I do have access to the internet price, but I also have access to prices that are not available to the public. That's the one thing about being travel agent.
The trade secrets.
Yes, it is. It really is. And even on accommodations only, I do have some really great deals. It's the way it is. So it's really worth checking, because I may have something for everyone, really.
Yeah, definitely lucky to have you as part of the group. Save us so much time and money. So next question, what's your background and how did you get into being a personal travel agent?
Wow, so this has been quite an interesting journey. My background, I don't know how far I can start, but I'm French. I was born in Lyon, in the south of France. I moved to Paris to study. Had an engineer degree in Paris. I then moved immediately in London, and I had my first job in London. So that was 18 years ago, and for 17 years I worked in a corporate environment, from being a web developer to a mobile phone app developer to a telecom user interface, and then marketing manager for smartphone and connected objects. So that was really my background. But what happened also is that 14 years ago, I went on a trip completely innocently to Kenya, and what happened changed my life. I fell in love with Africa, I fell in love with this wildlife, and I knew I had to go back, and in fact I did. I did go back the year after, and again, I've never stopped going back to Africa since. I've been volunteering in Wildlife Rehabilitation Centre because I really care about the wildlife there, and there are some very big issues with conservation of many species. In fact, I worked mainly with primates, and I went back there, and in fact I gave birth to a wildlife conservation charity that I'm also running. So I was really happy to start with, because I was at least putting my passion into something, which was the charity. But it wasn't enough, because the corporate world is quite tough, and it's not that I couldn't handle it, it's just that I didn't really agree with everything going on. The politics, the processes, some of the relationship I had were quite toxic, and I didn't want to commute in this tube every day. I didn't want to be in a city. I just wanted to be in Africa, in nature. And it just didn't really make sense anymore. So I took a sabbatical last year, and I wanted to reassess everything. What did I really want in my life? Was I just doing this job for the money, or for other reasons? And I realized that I was, and that's not how I wanted to live. So I did all the changes I needed to do in my life, including resigning, and then
very brave.
It was brave. I didn't quite know exactly what I was going to do, But I knew there was a better job for me that I would love doing. And a friend pointed me in this direction of being personal travel agent, saying, you breathe Africa, the way you talk about it, you have to transmit, to tell people your story, and I'm sure that people would want to go. And I thought, well, I could give it a try. I certainly do love talking about it. So I did some research about franchise. I benchmarked them. I went to an open day, and I was absolutely convinced this was the right thing for me. So I signed a contract, and there I was doing my dream job. Really,
yes.
I absolutely
and I can tell you are so passionate about it. Every time I meet you, you ooze passion. So it's really nice to see someone that's found what they love to do.
Thank you.
Yeah, so you've only had your first meeting so far in Athena. Geraldine's just joined, she just has her first month as an Athena member in the Muswell and Finchley group. So tell us a bit about why you decided to join the group, especially that group.
So I didn't really know about networking group at all, to be honest, because it's not something that is really being discussed when you work in a big company. So I didn't know about this, but the franchise does, and they really recommended people to join a networking group. In fact, they're supporting us to do this, and initially I thought, oh, this sounds complicated, I'm not sure about it, I'm just going to continue on Facebook, Instagram, and I was starting to grow my account quite well, and then I realized it was a really silly thing to put all my eggs in one basket, and also working from home means that I have a lot of interaction online, but not very many physical, and I do love meeting people, talking to people, and I thought I really ought to try at least. So that's what I did. I did some research. Athena came up pretty quickly as a really great networking group in North London. I signed up for the newsletter, and I was being more and more convinced that it was the right thing to do. Every tip that was given really spoke to me, especially having a bit of a corporate background. I could really feel how these meetings would be a structure that I would be comfortable with, and that would be really helpful. And also, I had never started my own business before. I did a charity, but this was another challenge. So I did the first trial. I think that was in October, and I really
came to the Cappuccino Connections first.
So I started with the Cappuccino Connection. That's true.
That's the informal networking that I run.
That was brilliant. Yeah. That was really good. It was really, really great. I felt so good after that, and I met some great ladies, and we immediately started to talk, exchange business card. But there were so many points of connection I could already see happening in just a few minutes. That was brilliant, and then you invited me for the session in October. So that was a lot more structured. But again, I really, really liked this, and I could see that the way it's structured, but the tips that you give are so relevant, and they are. I mean, I'm doing this business because it's my passion, but I think it's a bit risky as well, because sometimes I let my heart maybe take over my mind, and it's good, but I have to remember it's a business as well. And some of the tips that you give really, it's not that I don't know them, they completely make sense. It's just that I wouldn't naturally go and reach out for them. I wouldn't go and read about business setup, etc. So it's giving me all the information I need to balance perfectly the way I run the business. It's been helpful so far.
So it keeps you grounded.
Completely.
Yeah. So just to add, what Geraldine is referring to is the business development training, which we have in the meetings. So that helps to enhance your business skills and also personal skills as well.
Yes, completely agree.
Yeah. So next question: do you have any tips for anyone who's starting out in business?
Yes. Yes. I think the very first tip is, unless you're an entrepreneur and that's what you do, start businesses. It is a very scary thing to do.
Agreed. Athena is also a franchise, so I can completely identify with where Geraldine's coming from.
It is scary, and often we do this leaving a comfort zone somewhere, or at least something that we knew better than what's coming. What I do find is that you can really start a beautiful journey and a happy life if you go on the other side of that fear. and it's worth taking the step, because the second tip is, if you do something that you love, it's never as big an effort as anything else.
That's so true. Yeah.
So I find myself doing admin things and that I hate. Seamlessly, I just do it. I don't really question myself. Do I like it or not? I don't have the choice, and that's fine by me. So I do this in the morning first thing, so then I can spend the day enjoying talking about holidays with people, planning and researching. So don't be scared, or if you are, know that you're not the only one, and we've all been through this. The second one, do really love what you do. Don't do it for the money first. Do it because that's what you love. And the third one would be to persist, to really be, to keep working at it. It's not going to happen straight away overnight.
Yeah, completely agree with that.
It won't, and there will be obstacles that we don't foresee. I think it's inevitable. There might be some people that, voluntary or not, just might make you feel a bit down or unsure about your choice. There will always be those. And there will be things that don't work out as you want, but it's a learning curve, and we become so much stronger from learning that way. That's the real life, and in a way it can be hard, but it can also give you confidence, because if you do overcome those obstacles, you know you've got this fire in you that just keeps you going, and then eventually things suddenly just start happening and falling into places. So it is an amazing journey. I think as a woman it makes you feel so strong as well, and it's just great. So it's worth it. So
to wrap up, just a couple more questions. First of all, coming back to Athena, what's been your highlight so far? I know you haven't been a member for long. So.
No, I haven't been a member for long, but I had such a great time. I suppose if I say that when dessert comes at lunch, that's not really supposed to be a business highlight. I do like this
completely legitimate. Just to add, we don't get desserts at all the groups, so don't think that if you go to Athena meeting you'll get a dessert. It is a particular perk of the Muswell Hill and Finchley group.
No, but I was joking. Obviously, no. There are two things that I've noticed so far that I found absolutely amazing. The first one is the women who are there because they want to, and they help because they can and because they want to. It's the complete opposite of what I was living in the corporate world. People were there because they had to, and they made business because it made them feel good, or because it made them look good, or it was going to give them a bonus. But the reason was never from themselves, for them, from within. And that's a huge difference, and I'm sure it does lead to successful businesses. And the second thing is that it forces you to think outside the box. So if I was only at home doing my own business, I would just think about,
you're working, bubble. Yeah, you're working in your business, not on your business.
That's exactly right. And it made me realise that you talk to people doing complete different things, but you can link those businesses together somehow. You just have to think a little bit harder, and that's really healthy, I think. And I just can't wait to see all of the things that will happen. I mean, I'm sure that in 1 year from now I will look back and think, wow, what this journey has been. It's already been amazing. I've made great connection. I've already started to book some trips for people, and I'm hoping they're super happy with it, and I'm hoping to help people as well, because they are amazing ladies, very inspiring people in the group.
Yeah, absolutely. And last question, why would you recommend that someone join Athena?
Well, for all these reasons, I think it's really important. One of the reasons I mentioned is that, if you're comfortable with one way of working and it works for you, but that's the only way you're using, it's not healthy for a business. You need to try other routes as well. And I do think these opportunities of working with other businesses is absolutely brilliant. I don't see how else you get to do this in such an efficient way if you don't join a group.
Yeah, it is certainly efficient in Athena.
It's very efficient, and also because of the tips, the strategy, everything that is so relevant, that makes so much sense. You explain it always very well. It doesn't last too long, but it's enough to always have an impact on my mind, and it always makes sense, and it's very easy to apply in a business as well. So there is absolutely nothing against joining, and everything for it, in my opinion, definitely.
Oh, thank you. I'm so glad that you became part of the Athena.
Thank you, me too.
Athena network, and especially the Muswell Hill and Finchley group. And thank you so much for the interview today.
Thank you for having me, Sophie. Thank you.
Bye everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Bye everyone.